Howdy. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to be an infant Congolese miner? What they do after they clock into their daily 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. labor time allocation to dig that precious lithium we all desire? I have the answer. We are giving them synthetic beards and high-grade munitions and sending them to collect the resources necessary to keep humanity running. Deep Rock Galactic is a friend slop, co-op slop, entertainment slop, survival horror experience.
Help!
Centered on the game philosophy of sending 4 barely sapient individuals to a predetermined destination to complete a predetermined goal. The goal, in this situation, be sent down to the core of an alien planet and extract resources essential to increasing stockholder value. Contrary to general knowledge, thanks to CIA-backed misconceptions, the Agarthan Gateway is not at the opening of the poles. It is in the caves of the African wilderness. But you're smart, very smart indeed. They can't fool you. You know the goal of the mega corporations within the mines. It is not lithium or any precious mineral. It is that sweet life juice, the juice that keeps it all running, the nectar all men strive for. After all, the supply of Blizzard has been running incredibly low recently due to some unforeseen circumstances, and management is getting anxious. So it is up to you, my trusted junior manager, to take up arms, control the rabid children you call teammates, and bring back the precious resource. I hope you won't let me down. Thankfully, the orbital station you call home contains all the essential amenities and resources required to get through the shift. So lock in your favorite inebriation elixir at a low APR.
No, I want to buy a round. No, I want to buy the round.
Shake what your mama gave you, draft a will, and enter the spacecraft-shaped coffin at the center of the station. A word of advice: this job is not as easy as it sounds. The planet has a built-in immune system comprised of local subhuman savages that will try to stop all corporate operations by any means necessary. But our endeavor is not powerless. Through high-caliber weaponry, unapproved quantities of explosives, and poorly engineered artifacts that our generous establishment has graciously provided, personnel are armed just well enough to defend corporate interest. So, as part of the mandatory educational video module, I will give you a rundown of the disposable headcount available to complete these missions. The gunner. I will not waste company time explaining the obvious, so in a rare act of mercy, I will let the job title explain itself. Besides the big gun, the gunner also has access to a big iron and a plethora of silly gadgets, like the slowest zipline ever created and Gibraltar's bubble shield. The zipline allows personnel to traverse dangerous terrains at a pace best described as eventually, while the shield provides temporary protection from the planet's distinct wildlife problem. It is especially useful for reviving fellow miners who go down on the field, and trust me, they will go down. The engineer. The job market hasn't been kind to him. After spending countless years attaining a degree, AI has replaced him, so now he's stuck working for a company that values his technical expertise just enough to send him to the pits of hell, only armed with a shotgun. Unlike his peers who solve problems through overwhelming fire and minimal literacy, the engineer takes a more refined approach to corporate violence. His toolkit includes a matter-creating platform gun and sentry guns. The platform gun allows miners to reach valuable minerals placed in locations that were clearly chosen by a cruel and uncaring god. This is especially useful for scouts, who will immediately launch themselves towards the ceiling and expect the engineer to read their minds and instantly react by placing a platform under them. His sentry guns provide additional firepower, assuming their bargain bin targeting software can tell the difference between hostile wildlife and fellow employees. When functioning as intended, they eliminate pests and protect company property, and only occasionally remind the team that AI automation was a mistake. The driller, or as we call him around the station, Big D, is usually on unpaid time off, as he is rarely present in any mission, but when he is on the clock, his purpose becomes immediately apparent: remove any and all geological anomalies standing between company property and company profit. Unlike other miners who waste valuable time walking around obstacles, the driller comprehends that the shortest path between 2 points is a straight line. His arsenal consists of a big drill and C4 explosives. The driller is less of a miner and more of an environmental disaster. But when surrounded by lawless locals, miles away from the drop pod, there are few things more comforting than the sounds of a man who did not graduate high school operating heavy machinery. The scout. I don't like the Scout. I think his voice is too high-pitched and his playstyle too problematic. His equipment consists of a grappling hook, a flare gun, and whatever weapon he was able to steal from the pre-equipment check. His flare gun is his most valuable and, depending on who you ask, only contribution to the team, allowing miners to briefly experience the luxury of sight before quickly returning to cheap AAA powered headlamps. His grappling hook allows the Scout to launch himself at record speeds across the caves, reach minerals unavailable to other classes, and most importantly, abandon the team when most needed, and thereafter die somewhere extremely inconvenient. These are your work colleagues. Do not bother remembering their faces or learning their names. By next week, most of them will be either hospitalized or become a cautionary workplace tale. However, their short and fragile employment period can be extended slightly by watching this brief training clip on the tools available aboard the station. On missions, you may find optional minerals. These materials serve several vital functions, such as upgrading your gear, getting blinged out, and crafting overclocks. More on those later. You may also find organic material growing on rocks, somehow, which can be used to craft different types of beer. Some will impair cognitive functions enough to soften the emotional weight of imminent death, while others provide temporary buffs for the next ascent. Now, what type of missions would you be completing? The task assigned to you will consist of mining morkite, collecting drinkable morkite, kidnapping children for re-education purposes, company property maintenance and recollection, shiny mineral extraction, an Overwatch payload match, assassination, and corporate espionage. This, of course, is not all, because that would be far too simple, and simplicity does not build character. These are merely the main objectives miners will encounter during their many expeditions. Along the way, employees may also discover several unplanned workplace events. These include, but are not limited to, fighting the bubonic plague in living form. Standard weapons will not damage it. Much like the Reddit population, it must instead be forcibly introduced to hygiene through high-pressure cleaning equipment. You may also encounter the remnants of automated technology that has taken up the noble hobby of gang-stalking fellow miners. Once defeated and forcibly reminded who owns the cave, these machines may be reactivated and persuaded to assist the team for the remainder of the mission. Lastly, employees may discover a coveted cave full of valuable goods, rare minerals, and enough wealth to change several lives. Naturally, none of that value will be reflected in worker compensation. Please accept one additional day of paid vacation and a $50 Amazon gift card. Your work is truly appreciated. Complete the mission and be granted the privilege of boarding the drop pod and leaving this hostile work environment. Fail and enjoy an all expenses deducted trip to the medical bay. Now, do not mistake rescue for compassion. Employees are recovered because they still serve a purpose to the company, not because management has developed an emotional attachment to keeping them alive. A failed mission simply earns another opportunity to return and try again, only this time under the strict requirement of wearing a hospital gown. Some consider this a humiliating punishment, while others recognize it as the only issued uniform with ventilation access. The more you play this game, the more you will realize your biggest enemies are not this swarm of godless anti-capitalistic bugs, it's your own co-workers. Directly, they will accidentally riddle you with bullets and blow you up with explosives.
Oops.
Oh my god, are you throwing every single...
Indirectly, they will make the mission significantly more difficult through poor decision making and questionable navigation. This is not helped by the fact that you have an HR lady constantly nagging at your ear. Remember, no matter what you do, whether you're down in the mines or in the station, you are always being watched. Survive enough missions and you will eventually stumble upon overclocks. Overclocks are experimental weapon modifications only misbehaving dwarves know about. They serve to enhance weapons beyond their original capabilities. By tinkering with the safety protocol of your armaments, you will be able to change their use cases to a very irresponsible extent. There are three types of overclocks. Clean overclocks are the safest and therefore the least desirable, offering simple improvements with absolutely no drawbacks, making them perfect for people who enjoy reading instruction manuals, following traffic laws, and living emotionally small lives. Balanced overclocks provide stronger benefits with some drawbacks. However, these are overclocks chosen by people who have never taken a risk in their life, those complacent enough to see time passing by and enjoy a mediocre stay in this plane of existence for as long as they have. Real men use unstable overclocks. These bad boys will leave your weapon unrecognizable as you will be mowing down hordes of bugs in levels never seen before. Yes, there are some prominent drawbacks, but as they say, if you're not willing to sacrifice anything, you will never become anything. How to encounter overclocks now? You can just craft them in the forge, but a way better way to attain them is through deep dives. Deep dives are the late form of content offered in this free Game Pass game. After enough standard missions, corporate will eventually decide that regular workplace hazards are no longer producing adequate levels of suffering, and you will be granted access to a more concentrated form of abuse. A deep dive is a series of 3 missions completed back to back, where health and ammunition carry over between stages. This means that every poor decision you made in stage 1 may still be felt by stage 3. Waste too much ammo, take too much damage, or allow the scout to roam free too much, and the entire operation will collapse. Each stage comes with its own mission objectives, cave layouts, and collection of local wildlife. Unlike regular missions, there is no returning to the station between assignments. Elite deep dives share the same concept, except with the removed illusion that your survival was ever a part of the plan. These missions are harder, meaner, but way more rewarding. In exchange for completing these extended punishment sessions, employees may receive overclocks and maquillage to flex how much better at the game they are. Moving on, as can be seen from the footage, I don't have many friends. Most of this was captured in solo mode. I was, however, able to blackmail a few associates of mine into playing a couple of rounds for the sake of journalistic integrity. But for those of you who like this valuable asset, management has provided Bosco, a loyal automated assistant designed to aid the solo personnel in their endeavors. Bosco can mine minerals, fight bugs, provide light, revive fallen employees, and offer the kind of dependable companionship to make you want to work forever. As for me, I don't have anything else to talk about. Everything that there is to cover about this game, I have already covered. If you want to go in deeper detail, I invite you to look at the many videos open to the general public. They are probably more informative. I have done my job here. You know what you must do. Like, subscribe, and comment. I look forward to creating a fan base full of deeply parasocial individuals who will one day defend me in comment sections that I have no intention of reading. Until then, bye bye.